Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this 2025 LOVE-A-THON. It is the 22nd anniversary of teamDinmaNedum and our third year of doing LOVE-A-THON. So we're very excited to have you here. The theme for this year's LOVE-A-THON is the culture of convenience, how self-interest sabotages marriages. And we're very excited to start that conversation with you today. But as you're coming in, let's just get settled together and drop where you're joining from in the chat, whether you're joining from Lagos or Ibadan or somewhere that's not in Nigeria. So just drop that in the chat as we get settled for today. So as someone who has my name, is Kamarana Chimdi, and I am the third daughter of teamDinmaNedum, and I feel like I've been very privileged to see their relationship blossom over these years and watch how they do marriage. So I can tell you confidently that everyone that joins this stream is in for an amazing time. So as you're coming in, don't forget to drop where you're joining from in the chat as a little icebreaker. And we can also share what our expectations are for this LOVE-A-THON. Why are you joining? Why did you decide to sign up? What are you hoping to gain or learn from spending this month of July with us? So yes, we can just get that conversation going as people come in. Yeah, so like I said, I've been very privileged to watch their relationship going up, and I've learned a lot about relationships and love. Even though I still have a long way to go in that aspect, I feel confident that I'm gaining the skills that are going to allow me to do a good job when I eventually start getting into relationships. And when I look at the theme for this year, the culture of convenience, I think is a very relevant theme to talk about, especially in this day and age with social media and everything, and everyone seems so like interested in only themselves. So I think it is a very good time to tackle this topic because it seems like everyone just wants to put themselves first, which is not technically a bad thing, but it is something that you need to balance when you are in a relationship. And I'm sure everyone that is joining us will be able to relate to this since this is the couples edition. So yeah, as you're coming in, just drop where you're joining from and what your expectations are for this year's LOVE-A-THON. And yeah, I can tell you that we have a very exciting and intelligent group of people who come in to talk to us today. So we'll definitely have lots of fun together for this 1 hour, 30 minutes that we have. Okay, so I'm very excited and privileged to welcome the host couple of this series, my dear parents, teamDinma and Nedum. Welcome to this year's LOVE-A-THON. I'm very excited that you're here to join me today. How are you feeling about finally kicking off this program? this July.
Yeah, I feel eternally grateful to God, my creator and maker, Jesus for redeeming me, and the Holy Spirit for keep inspiring our lives to what we keep doing and doing what we believe in. And one of our strongest belief and faith is about family life and marriage. And seeing that we are impacting, we are growing in our influence and pursuing flourishing marriage and family life, which is the bedrock of our society. We think that the best way we can contribute based on our values is to look at what we do in terms of the family and marriage space, look at our skills, look at our competence, look at a lot of things we have learned and say we cannot let this go. It was in our 20th wedding anniversary we decided to up our game to become more visible because the narrative outside there is that a lot of marriages are breaking down from the social media to the celebrities to the church people to other forms of religious beliefs. However, we cannot keep blaming what is wrong with society, what is wrong with husbands, what is wrong with wives, what is wrong with government. When a nation needs to be fixed, it has to be people. When Israel had a problem, a prophet needs to be raised within them. So we in the family life space is not enough for us to analyze, criticize, dissect everything wrong with relationship and marriage. We must begin to offer and provide solutions. More important, we must be models who are out there. So I remember those times in our early marriage when we started showing up, family, friends, people who love are advising us, you don't put your marriage out there. You are showing too much. You are loving too much. But the question is, if you are loving too much and you are not showing up that marriage is possible, that marriage is beautiful, how will the young generation begin to accept the fact that the negative narratives they are hearing, there are some people who are living up to the expectation. There's people who are enjoying, there's people who are living joy, not just the theory, but a practical reality of example shown to these young people. And so LOVE-A-THON was born out of that deep devotion to make meaningful changes. And we also have group of friends who will be joining us in this 4 weeks edition, 4 weeks episode, who also we have believed from the depth of our hearts are living models and legends in the family space. They are not just professional, but we know them as close friends who are pursuing the relationship with happiness, with joy, with fulfillment. And so we are all here to learn, to improve, and to make life more meaningful, not just for us, not just for our friends, but the world at large. Wherever there's a couple, there's a family, you have the right to enjoy your relationship. And that is where this conversation this time is critically very important. Hopefully, I know that we're going to learn a lot.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Our
thank you very
amazing.
much.
We'll let you go whilst your dad takes over the conversation. Thank you so much.
And so the general theme for this year is the soul of marriage, challenging the counterculture of self-interest. And when we look at the conversation about relationship, whether it's in the secular or in the sacred, it seems to be the same thing when you look at the statistics, the rate of divorce. Within the secular was around 40 something percent. When you look at sub-Saharan Africa, when you look across Europe, it's a little bit slight. You come even within the sacred community of Christians, it's still close to. So when you look at the problems, it's likely that whether you're in the church, outside the church, no matter your religion, we are still facing the same challenges, the same problems, and the same situations. And I was just listening to a conversation on social media this afternoon, and a friend was narrating how his friend that they were living in Europe, the friend married a white person, they had 3 kids, but he decided to believe that this marriage in Europe It's not something that can go on with his legacy. It's not something that can go on with his culture. He's looking at the next generation. I think the European wife will not sustain that. So he decided that he wanted a wife in Nigeria that will carry on his legacy and his rights as a person who has ever existed. And so what the friend narrated, that he did not tell the wife here that is married in Europe and has children, but he also wants the woman to swear, to take an oath that she will never cheat. And the lady said, fine, I promise I will never cheat, but we have to take this oath together. We have to swear together. We have to go to wherever you are taking me to, and both of us will swear that none of us will cheat. And the guy backed down and said that the reason why he won't go on is that the girl wants to cheat. That it's not about him, it's about the girl and about the lady. And so they have to break that engagement. I was looking for somebody who will swear to him and him not swear to the lady. And so we see that in this era where science and technology has speed up the things for convenience in life, whether it's the music, we can just at the tip of our hand, whether it's the fast food technology, we can talk, we can wire money. So technology has actually improved a lot of ease of life. People have many alternatives. So when we look at even our own cultures, we are now knowing and believing in other people's culture, which is not wrong, people's values, which are not wrong. But however, this has crept into relationship, because the story of relationship that goes on these days is, what are you bringing to the table? We personally see that that question is about the person asking the question. So it's no longer what am I going to bring, what am I going to do, is what is the other person bringing to the table. I want to know it, especially when it comes to finance. The other person wants to talk about I, myself, me. So it's no longer the culture of building together. It's no longer the culture of partnership. It's no longer the culture of willingness to die for the other. It's no longer the culture of a process and long-time relationship mindset. Because everything is microwaved in the kitchen does not necessarily that life will be the same everywhere. We want to get a job, we want to be promoted to the senior management under 1 year. In fact, even in our prayers, narrates how we even pray for instant gratification. And so when we look at the marriage today, we are asking couples, what is the culture you are building? Is it a culture of sustenance? Is it a culture of long-term, or is it a culture of convenience? And so I'm going to share some of the indicators or signs that will tell you if your marriage is having a culture of convenience, and how this self-interest is sabotaging the marriage, how this self-interest is not making it to work, how this self-interest is not making you to be happy, how this self-interest is clouding your perception about what is possible for both of you. And so one of them is the instant gratification. You are no longer satisfied with the process. And so we see a lot of couples already married, already in the relationship, because they have a poor, negative impression about marriage. They have given themselves timeline as to what will make them stay. So, for example, there's a story of a lady who believed that the man should take care of her, everything about her. Of course, when they started, the man was doing well. He was in business. He was doing greatly and massively well. But we know, like in our nation, 6 months can make a difference. No matter the status you have in your workplace, 6 months can turn everything around. So she has 2 cars, one for her work, one for her to run around during weekends. And those cars were on loan. And so as a senior manager in that bank, when the bank collapsed, of course, he was still even owing, and he lost his job, lost everything they have from their home, because they were mortgaged, they can pay. The cars are on mortgage too. So within 2 months, the lady was saying, I'm leaving, because she wants soft life. And the man indeed promised her soft life. But promises can change even when we do it with the best we can, and possibly we can. We are not in charge of the circumstance of the environment and some of the things that happens to us. Number 2 is lack of commitment. Lack of commitment makes people give up easily because they have already provided alternatives. When you come to sex life and a lady or a partner feels that is no longer having sexual fulfillment as intended or as usually they should imagine they can have, they are now turning to technology. Why? Sex toys is available. Why try to grow to find solution? Why wait to seek solution? Why go to the therapist or to the doctor to offer you solutions when alternatives are there, when options are there? Even including these days, cheating is now an option. Whether it's the man or the woman, we don't know whose percentage or statistics ranks higher. And the funny thing is that it now comes with no shame. It comes with no shame. Whether it's the social media, whether it's Joseph, it comes with no shame. And these are the things that shows that the culture of nudity, the culture of shame, has gone out of the fabric of our values. I remember when we were much younger, whenever you go out, you are still remembering where you are coming from, what your father will say, what your mothers will say, what your clans people will say, what your church will say, what your pastor will say, what your intimate friends will say. But we have thrown all that down the drain, and people will be clapping for you when you have anniversary of your divorce. In fact, it's a party. So these are the things that are showing up when you see these indicators. Prioritizing personal desires over collective goals. Because there is competition in your relationship. Who will be seen most? Who will be prominent? And so a lady was sharing with me how her billionaire husband cheated on her by having another one. And the question is that he is a melancholy. He is not the type that goes out. He's not the life that shows. And the wife is sanguine, a going type, a party type. But the husband started maltreating her and not showing up at occasions of rest because people appreciate her better. She's good looking. People come to occasion, they will call her name and say, this is the husband of so lady. And when people come to the table to serve, they ask her first, and they will not even direct them to ask her husband. So the man grew very insensitive to that. How can a man of himself, an odogo of himself, why the wife is prominent out there, yet is the one making the money? And so lack of empathy. We are ready to do and say things that sometimes you wonder, is it your partner that said these things to you? You call your partner unprintable names. Sometimes I will imagine if we come to reconcile, please, how can you reconcile these words you have said to me? Words that even the worst of your enemy outside will not say to you, will be said by your partner with no remorse, as if the vocabulary intend to use during that quarrel has been stored, waiting for a time to release it. So when we come to reconcile, how am I supposed to reconcile those hurtful words? So you see that in culture, that will lead to also breakdown. We can't longer talk. We can now use text message to talk to each other, WhatsApp to talk to each other, writing notes to talk with each other. And so these are the things that when you begin to see that self-interest is sabotaging your marriage. It will now lead to avoiding conflict. You are not open again. And so we see situations where, even in our counseling practice, where you will say, okay, what is the challenge? Can you share with us? You find out that they'll be talking at superficial level. But now when you break it down to one-on-one counseling with each of them, what they will say will surprise you. Why couldn't they say it when they were together in the counseling sessions? They don't want to hurt their partner, yet they are hurting. And so once you begin to see that you are trading peace, you are trading resolution, you are trading your happiness because you don't want to share your feelings, you don't want to share your thoughts, you want to share what is hurting you, because your partner will gaslight you. And some of us have enjoyed gaslighting our partners. These are the indicators which will not lead to emotional withdrawal and also increased divorce rates and separation. So for today, if you are here, are these signs, are these indicators what is consistent in your relationship? Are they the evidence of what is seen in your relationship? Once you see, then the issue is not to say, yes, it happens everywhere. Of course, that's not true. But what we are here today is not to point fingers. It's an evaluation process too, to learn that if we are trading on this path, it is not just destructive to our relationship, but it's going to be also destroy our lives, our children, the legacy we are building, and the future we hope for. And so there's always a time like this. For us, we always have annual retreats where we ask ourselves these questions. How are you feeling in this relationship? What areas do you think I should improve? Where am I doing better? What are behaviors and attitude I should avoid? What's your general sense of connection? It's not a time to feel bad what your partner will share. It's time to receive the honest feedback so that we can advance to the mutual goal, the collective idea, and the partnership we intend to build. And so I will stop here. And we have people who, in the course of this conversation, solutions, ideas, and also hearing their input. And so thank you for making it possible for this legacy building project, LOVE-A-THON. And also we thank you for sharing our partnership and sharing as part of our dreams and goals. And may God bless you. Thank you.
If you leave this man, he shall preach like pastor till the end of today. So welcome. Yes, we can't wait to bring our guest couple in. I just wanted to draw out some things from what Nedum said. Remember, the theme of this 22nd wedding anniversary of ours is the soul of marriage. The soul of marriage. And we want to challenge the counterculture of self-interest. Because these days, it's like people are more driven by individualism, driven by their personal gain. And it's not to say that you lose yourself in a relationship, but is marriage supposed to be approached from that what is in it for me attitude? That's what we're discussing. And we'll have a couple to come and share that with us. Because somebody asked me, what do you mean by soul of marriage? Does marriage have a soul? Do you mean that marriage has a heart? It now has a hand, it has a leg. And I said to the person that we want to reconnect back to the essence of marriage. That's the soul of it. We want to see how, even whilst there is so much clamor not to lose yourself, how do you build mutual intimacy? How do you grow together even while preserving your individuality? And we're in a culture these days where even on social media they will say, this life is not too hard. If it's not working, you just move out. I will never ask somebody that is in a marriage where the person feels like they are dying to stay there. But let's be honest, it's almost looking like the staying power of people in marriage is reducing. Like your spouse does one thing, it's like, I can't take it, I'm leaving. Is that really what the soul of marriage is all about? So in this conversation, which we always have with ourselves, we want to see, how do we move from self-centeredness to self-giving? Because we know that it's in giving that we receive. If we want to reconnect to the soul of marriage, How do we go from individual autonomy, wanting to have all your way, to building interdependence as a couple? And what is that difference between marriage, coming into it for marriage to make you happy, and also coming into marriage to make another person happy? So there's a mutual give and take.
Yeah.
That's all we're unboxing tonight. And we have the amazing, the delectable, how do I even put it?
Magnetic.
The magnetic, the magnificent, the exceptional. Which one again?
Queen, premium queen.
Queen of premium family life coaching, and her husband. So let me tell you, I don't claim that I know all the people in the world that are putting in the work, but I can tell you that in whatever we're doing, we put intentionality to it. We pray about the theme for the year, which also coincides with what we are seeing in our work as marriage coaches. Then we carefully choose the guest speakers for each topic. So it's not coincidental that this amazing couple are the people coming to share with us on the culture of convenience. We know that we were looking for people. We knew that based on their journey of marriage, they are apt to share the experience in this topic. So I want to welcome you, Ayo and Femi Lawrence. We want to thank you for doing this with us. We want to appreciate you for answering yes. Immediately we reached out to you, and we know that we're going to do justice to the topic, and the people watching and listening will benefit from it. You're welcome, Ayo and Femi Lawrence. Please tell us, how many years have you been in this business of marriage?
Thank you so much, Dima and Uncle Nedum. Thank you for inviting us. We are really so happy and honored to be here this evening. It's your 22nd. For us, it will be 25 in December. It will be 25 on the 2nd of December this year. So we are on our 25th journey. Get ready for the 26th.
Thank you so much for having us. That is amazing. So we're going to be drawing inspiration and lessons from you, because we know that we learn from everyone. So tell me, we're talking culture of convenience, marriage, and you're looking at everything that is happening in society. And of course, everybody wants to grow. They say, don't be, a woman's place is not in the kitchen. Don't hide under your husband's success. Husband, they will say, you need. So we are all in that place where we want to grow and assert our independence. But now you're married. I always say to people, if you want to do life alone, don't marry, so that you can do your life according to how you want it, everything. But once you choose to marry, you have unconsciously chosen that I will do life with someone. So it cannot be about me alone anymore. So with these two things, how do you, in your marriage, balance your quest for personal growth and independence while still staying connected as a couple?
I'll go first, then my husband will follow. So the first thing is for us to know that balance can be achieved when the partners, when they see growth as me for us and not me versus us. So that's the first thing. When they see that in their relationship, it's not me versus us, but it's me for us. It's the two of us in this relationship together. And you talked about independence. It's also very important for them to do like a reframing, such that instead of seeing it as independence, they see it as interdependence. It is a teamwork, that we are looking at here. Because in every relationship, we can say that you're truly maturing when you're not losing yourself. when you're learning to grow with your partner, when you're learning to share together, when you're choosing, not to shrink because someone else is in a relationship with you. So it's very important that in a married relationship, yes, you have your strengths, you have your, the areas wherein you're doing so well, and your partner also has the same thing. So the two of you are depending on each other. So the areas wherein you're strong, you bring it to the fore. The areas wherein your partner is strong, he too brings it to the fore, while you both are working on your areas of improvement. So in a relationship, it is very important that you look at it as interdependence. You bring what you have into the relationship. Your spouse also does the same thing, so that you support yourselves and you don't stifle your growth, but you enhance it in the process. Femi, I think you can say more to that.
Okay, all right. Ayo, I think you really stressed on that point very well. But as you were talking, what came to my mind is that as part of our journey, that sharing our personal goals, and growth journey, with each other was very key to balancing our lifestyle and our aspirations in life. So what I notice is that when we communicate openly about our aspiration, it actually helps to bring the intimacy in our relationship. There is this emotional intimacy that helps our partner to support and celebrate our growth. A lot of times, couples don't openly communicate what their pursuit is all about, what their aspiration is all about. You don't even know. You are just silo. You're on your own, journey separately. Each person is running a separate journey, whereas each person should be able to tell each other about, this is where I am headed and this is where I am going. Please, what contribution will you give me? What advice will you give me? Do you have for me on this journey? I'd like, what kind of support? And then the other partner will ask, what kind of support do you require from me, and vice versa. So if a relationship wants to maintain that balance, they must have a strong, open communication, and they must be able to share their aspiration. With that being done, they will not live separately, but rather they will interoperate as one family.
Thank you for that. When Ayo said something around looking at marriage not as not me versus us, but me for us, is very spot on. Because sometimes I say to people, when they're fighting, I'm like, the way you are fighting is an indication or gives insight as to, are you fighting in terms of how you are arguing and quarreling because your focus is to win the argument, or is your focus to win your marriage? That change in perspective changes how couples disagree. And so for me, what I'm taking from what you shared in terms of this question on balancing personal growth and the marriage connection is, first of all, seeing that even all this growth you want to grow for you and for your partner, you are growing it for the marriage. Because marriage is a team effort. If you grow and become the Dangote, you're not going to carry your Dangote-ness away. The marriage will benefit from it. So that's very critical. And what that will do is that for the partner who is also growing, will see a reason why to support you, not because only they want you to feel seen, but also knowing is an investment for the family. So that is critical. And Femi said something. He talked about sharing your goals, your growth journey with your partner. I want to bring out something there, especially what do you say to a couple who maybe a spouse has shared their growth journey and their partner is jealous of their progress? You know, when a person is at a place where I've seen that happen in reality in my coaching sessions. So the person is saying, I don't tell her, I don't tell him anymore because maybe because he's struggling with something in his own process, he's now feeling threatened by your progress. How does such a partner navigate that when it is your own spouse that is threatened by your success, that is feeling jealous of you? So how do you share your growth journey? What do you
Um,
say to such a
person. I think we even have a real life experience to share regarding that. Um, when we got married, we were both working. And 2 years into our marriage, I had to stop working. It was an agreement between the two of us. We had our first child, and it was really tough at that time. Although, in retrospect, now we tell ourselves that we didn't really explore all the opportunities that we should have before me saying, "Oh, I'm going to stop work." We didn't really explore it properly. But at that time, that was what we did. So I stopped work. Initially, it was, good, it was okay. But along the lines, Mr. Lawrence was just, climbing the ladder.
flying?
And I was in between the pots and pans and the nappies, at home. And the truth is, at some point, I was envious of him. At some point, when he came home to tell me, oh, there's a promotion, yes, I will rejoice. He didn't know. It was later on that I shared this with him. He didn't know, but deep, deep down inside of me, I was like, what about me? Is this how I'm going to live the rest of my life? I'm just in my early 20s and I'm here. Is this how it's going to continue? I was doing everything, but deep, deep down, there was this sense of unaccomplishment. But at some point, I had to open up to him to let him know that, sweetheart, this thing is no longer funny. I don't think I am enjoying what is happening. And we had to, navigate to see what can be done to also ensure that I grow as well. So it's not that, because at that time, there's so many things he'll be saying and I'll be lost. I did mathematics in school. I did my postgraduate diploma in computer science, and he'll be talking about so many things, and I couldn't just connect. I couldn't just relate, and I was just like, God, what is happening to me? So I just felt myself so lost. So in our own case, what we were able to do was to come to the table and have conversations. This is what is happening to me. This is the way I feel in this relationship. I feel lost. I feel as if I didn't even go to school. Why did I even go to school in the first place? If eventually it's just to be tying in nappies that I'll be doing. So we had to come together and have a conversation. We're still going to share another experience after that because I went back to work, then something else happened. So we're going to talk about that later. But really, for us, what we've been able to do is to seek, he talked about you being able to share your aspirations, share your goals. That was what we were able to do. This is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly what I want to do at this point in time. And then, seek how to work together as a team ongoing.
Yeah, if I may add to that, thank you for bringing up that story, which is also very important because on my part, during that stage, obviously I didn't know, I was just having a blast in my career. I was having a great time. I was having an exciting,
traveling all over the world,
challenging career. But I was taking care of the bills as well.
Bringing gifts, packages,
Exactly,
dresses from different fashion designers and all this.
But that goes back to the discussion we've had earlier. If there was open communication, earlier, then probably some of the frictions that we had that this thing led to wouldn't have lingered for so long because this happened for years.
Yeah.
What she has said now was for years, at least for about 5 years or so or more. You can imagine the kind of heartache she had, the kind of pain, the kind of perception she had about me, the anger, the hurt, the reactions. A lot of times I wonder why What have I done that she's behaving this to me? But not knowing there's a trigger, there's something behind. So open communication is very key in marriage. We must always let our heart out. Of course, there's a lot that goes into that. And as also, if she let her heart out to me, empathy and sensitivity also needs to play out from my own hand as well, so that I can give her the necessary support to be able to help her in that situation.
Fantastic. Wow. And just to add, because I like how this conversation is going, I will come to our questions, but when something just drops in my spirit, I want to just deal with it. Mine was a bit different, but I know that in the early years of our marriage, even to talk about things, I will first of all say, hey, how will I say this? Hey, how will I say this? I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't want to be whatever. I'll look at his face. Is he smiling? Does he look like he's in the mood? So when I was listening to Femi talk, that's why even when we're working with people in premarital, we say to them, you need to at least check in with a marriage coach, even if it is twice a year. Because in those early times when I was afraid of how to express myself, and then Ayo was in that place where she was dying and feeling jealous and couldn't express herself. Imagine if the marriage already had a system where there was a marriage coach, even if it's once a year for a checkup, there would have been that opportunity to bring it up and trash it and not have to deal with that pain for 4 years and counting. All right? So let's move on. We know that we are people of different personalities, different ways we tackle things. I am confessing boldly and openly. I am the typical first level stonewaller. So what do I mean? When there are things that happen, I will just withdraw, go and stay on my own, be giving attitude. Typically I'm this very zestful, whatever. But once Nedum noticed that when he asks me question, it's one sentence. I'm not like all over him. I just stay on my side of the bed, either pressing my phone or watching Netflix. If he knows his wife, he will kukuma know that I'm upset. Yes. So, and now we know that withdrawal is a silent killer of intimacy. So have you noticed, if ever, that you have been tempted, because we're talking about what is killing intimacy and sabotaging marriage. Have you ever in your marriage noticed that you were tempted to emotionally withdraw or even prioritize yourself? And if you have done that, how do you handle it? Say, I give an instance. Just recently, in the last 1 week, I was eating a plate of pepper soup. And this was pepper soup that was hot and spicy. My sister, I chopped the pepper soup. It was remaining the last bowl. Nedun answered, you didn't even invite your husband. I said, oh, you wanted to eat? You wanted to eat? You didn't say you wanted to eat. But in that moment, I was like, was I prioritizing myself and not even thinking of him? So have you noticed any time when you've been tempted to withdraw? How did you handle it? And how did you reconnect back?
Yes, there have been several times that withdrawal has happened in our relationship, and I'll talk from my own perspective. I'm someone who is very sensitive, and there have been times my husband will do something that he does not even know. He's a very playful person. I'm much more on the very serious side. We are together. So I'm learning also to loosen up and to have fun and to enjoy life. So there are times that my husband would say something or do something that he wouldn't even count as a big deal. But I would have thought about it, thoughts to the front, thoughts to the back, thought upwards, thought downwards. And I'll just conclude that, you know what, just day your day and let me day my day. and I'll just, withdraw. I'll do every other thing, if there's a need to cook, to do whatever, I'll do that. But I will disconnect emotionally, as a result of what has happened. And in such situations, now that I've grown and I've matured to a good extent, thanks to FSC, I must always say that, because that was the beginning of my deliverance, because it revealed me to me much more. I fall on the spectrum of those who see themselves as perfect. I was actually having a conversation with my big brother some years ago, and I told him, I said, big brother, I used to think I'm perfect. And what he said was, yes, you are a perfect child. That was what he told me. So you can imagine I grew up with that mindset. So, getting into marriage, and then my husband, I will say something, my husband will say it is not like that. In my head, I'm like, who are you to tell me this is not correct? Nobody correct, because that's the way I grew up. Hardly do people correct me growing up, because they feel I know what to do. I do this, I do that. So getting married to him, and I'm getting all this, I'll just disconnect emotionally, just disconnect. And part of the things, now that I know, part of the things I've learned to do is to pause. So in seasons wherein I find out that I have disconnected with my husband, I've learned to pause. I've learned to even respond instead of reacting. Because I find out that in seasons like that, I just react, But now that I know better, I've learned to respond from a place of thinking deep and saying, okay, what exactly, was he trying to say? I've learned to look at his intention and not just what has happened at that point in time. It took me a long while, I must confess, to get here. But I've learned that it's better going this route than the route I've been going before now. Because I find myself that I'm the one suffering. I'm the one going through the emotional pain. I'm the one going, because he's a happy-go-lucky person. I will be upstairs, and he and the children will be laughing. You will be hearing their laughter. And in my head, I'm like, with all that I'm going through in this house, you people still have the strength to be laughing downstairs, and I'll just get more of them. I've learned to pause. I've learned to also tell him what I feel, not from a place of accusation, but from a place of, this is how I feel. This is what is going on with me, so that I can hear what he has to say. So those are, part of the ways I've learned to handle the issue of withdrawing when there are emotional upheaval in our relationship. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So just a little contribution to what Hayo had said. From what I've observed, in handling withdrawals in relationship, whether it is emotional withdrawal or physical withdrawal or communicative withdrawal, because it can be either of the three most of the time. Physically, you withdraw. Sometimes you can be there physical, but emotionally, you are disconnected completely. Also, you can be also that you don't want to communicate at all. Communicative wise, you just withdraw completely. I've come to realize that both wisdom and emotional maturity has a strong role to play. I said wisdom and emotional maturity is key in handling this. And in my head, I ask myself, wisdom, is really sometimes it's like, let me tell her what she wants to hear, so that it will be calm. Everything let me tell her what she wants to hear, so that there's no problem. There's peace. They calm down. The temperature calm down. Like the Nigerian will say kulu 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 temper. You just bring the temper down because you have told her what she wants to hear. But emotional maturity we patiently wait for the right time. When she's ready to receive the true picture or what you really want to say, the way you want to say it. There's always the right time, the right moment, and the right way to be able to bring it down. Then when you do that, you apply emotional maturity. So from my experience, one of the things I've come to realize is that for me, basically, I just have to be gentle, in the way I present things, in the way I name things. I have to gently name what I have noticed. I don't just go straight, because me, I can be, I tell you that I say it the way it is, but saying it the way it is hurts a lot. It's like I'm using, in fact, I'm using like when you say you use a sledgehammer, to kill an insect.
They fly.
It's always a big problem. So I've come to realize that. So to be able to handle withdrawal, one must be wise, one must exercise emotional maturity, and in applying that, you must be gentle when you name things that you've noticed. For example, now, I will just tell her that, I have noticed you have been pulling away lately. I have noticed you have been pulling away lately, and I care about what's going on with you. When I say that, I'm not attacking her. I'm not coming from the fact that she's wrong. I just say, I just noticed that you have been pulling away. You've not been talking to me, lately, and I care about what's going on with you, because I use the word care about what's going on with you. It lightens up, ease the tension, and we can now start a conversation. I have learned that, and I'm still learning because it's not easy.
I want to come in to share, when Ayo was speaking, I was laughing because it's an indicator of our personality and, and temperament. And I remember one occasion that I had, let's say, an extended period of withdrawal. It was, I think that was a business, and during the transition from Buhari to Tinubu, that dollar just suddenly went from 850 to 16 and 18. And if you are important, you can understand when your debtors are going to pay you in naira and your creditors are going to pay in dollar. And some of your debtors are in naira, but your own creditor, you have to convert naira to dollar, which they have no business of what the naira is saying.
Exactly.
And so, for example, you are owing your creditors $100,000, which was 85 million. On that 1 month, it becomes 150 million. It became 150 million. It became 160 million. It became 180 million. And those who are owing you, it is still the value in naira.
Yeah.
They're going to. So your base is like tripling just in weeks. How can you explain to somebody you have done business for so many years that you can't pay? How can you now go to the people who are, you pay me quickly so that I can cut off the inflation? They will be telling you story. People are not buying. You can't increase their price because it's already within their coffers.
Yeah.
You're like, what is? You are like seeing your hard aim or work for years being just being grounded just within few months. So you come back and say, is this how your life will go? You are now paying bill in school fees in dollar. I think that was the one that, like, oh my God, who told you to send somebody outside? Because initially, it's 4 something, 5 something.
Yeah.
Oh my. So for me, that time was like, how can I explain? Who should I explain? Who will help me? And so for me, it's just come back, go one place and be reminiscing about, what story will you now tell? Because I for my own kind of person, we don't know how to tell story. We don't know how to over-explain. We don't know how to give excuse. So you just try to bottle everything. Go to your space, talk less, no smiling. Very. If you are ready to shout on the person, even what you don't even shout about before, you will now scream
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And I think the children will be wondering what's happening. But I know my wife knows that this is a tough season. But the funny thing again, when she's trying to come up with solution, which solution are you going to give me $1? So if you are not going to give me, you don't have solution.
I can be romancing you and saying it will be well. Let's strategize.
The well I need is
Let's
Gusala.
strategize.
Now the way go pay bill.
But I think one of the things that actually show up in what people are saying is your partner willing to care, coming in to show I care. How can I support? And I noticed what had happened immediately after that happened. She doubled her efforts, both in the marketplace. She was constantly having late nights, saying I'm paying for this without even letting me know, paying for some things without letting me know. Just even when he hears the news about the request for school something, he will not even communicate it to me. So I think for me, that helped me to balance in between, to adjust to the reality of what is happening that is beyond our control. And so the question I was asking myself, what caused it? Why are my dependents and those that I love be receiving the consequences of what they don't know about? So why did it happen? We did not cause it. We did not know it will happen just a sudden. Who is responsible? They are not the one. Of course, I will die quick if I linger on that. I'll have depression. I might even have increased blood pressure. So at the end, you see that you will be the one that will suffer more if you don't come out to talk.
Yeah.
So it makes very important that couples come out to say, this is what I'm going through. Your partner may have solutions. It's just that you think it's not in the space to offer you solutions. Whether it's emotional, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, all of them helps you, to come out to understand that people really care for you. And so thinking that your partner doesn't have help of any sort, I think you are living in a fool's paradise. They have a way to support. And be willing to talk about it, I think, is what will lead to the entire well-being of not just for you, but for the entire family.
Absolutely.
Deep. This is the one Nigerians will say deep. Let's move to this one. So marriage is to be enjoyed, right? And we say, whilst you are not going to just be focused on how your partner will make you happy, you should also, first of all, deal with your own happiness and see marriage as mutual. But I want us to speak to something that is so timely. We are in the season of, me, I cannot come and die, kill myself. Me, I cannot come and die here. That season of when it is hard, walk away. And I'm going to be very honest with us here. I have had some clients that I've worked with that in my mind, I'm like, this marriage is finished. These people are better walking away. But of course, I can't tell my client to walk away. I've seen people fight for their marriage. Of course, it comes with some pain, it comes with some scars. But I've seen people even turn around marriages that I thought were finished. So in this our culture now, where people are always saying, if it doesn't suit you, just walk away. Let's bring it to ourselves. Has there been any time in your marriage where one of you or both of you had to choose commitment over convenience? And if there's been any time like that, what do you think gave you the staying power? What made you choose commitment over convenience in that moment?
For myself and Femi, definitely we've had seasons, of challenges in our relationship, and I remember vividly. Now, this is like a top up on the story that I shared in the beginning. So after I was out of work, 2002 up until 2007, I went back to work. And fortunately, I was taken back where I left. And it was as if I didn't leave because I was placed in where I should have been if I had been in the system. And which was a very good opportunity for me. So I was glad, went back to work, doing well, and everything. That was in 2007, October. Fast forward 2010, Mr. Lawrence came again. We have to leave Nigeria. He got a job in Kenya, and we have to leave Nigeria. And in my head, I was like, oh God, I'm just trying to put all these things together. Can you, this man, you have come. And going to Kenya, it was a contract just for 2 years. And I didn't know if I would get a job. I'm not even supposed to work. And here we are again. What we have tried to put together in about 2.5 years, we are saying bye-bye again. It wasn't easy, but I looked at it, or rather we looked at it together objectively. If I decide to stay in Nigeria and he went to Kenya, are we sure that we won't grow apart in the process? Are we sure that it's the same us that are here now that will be able to meet together in the next 2 years? And at that point in time, we had to make another tough call. And I turned in my resignation. But fortunately for me, my MD said he was not going to accept my resignation. So I was working. So when you talk about working virtually with the first sex, so I was working from Kenya, at that point in time, even though after some time I still had to stop work. But at that point in time that I stopped work, I'd found my feet in Kenya and I was doing business, So God just supported us in that season. But what made us to say, you know what, we're going to go on with this decision was faith, in God, knowing that He is the one that has brought us together and He's going to sustain us. Also, our love for each other was also one thing, that was on the front burner at that point in time. Commitment, looking at all we have been able to build over the years. Are we going to throw everything away now? But we're just so blessed at that point in time. What we thought we were going to lose, we didn't lose it. So I was still, even at that time, I had even opportunity to even go work outside of Kenya. There was an implementation in Zimbabwe at that point in time, and I was part of the team, that was sent to Zimbabwe to do the work. So for us, even though we didn't know that my MD would say I should stay back, to continue work, but we just made up our minds. We looked at it and we said, you know what, let's still keep the family together as one. And there is the recent one, you know about that one. I went to Canada thinking my husband will join me. But by the time we looked at the whole thing, it wasn't looking like what we planned. And we just said, you know what, come back home. Because for us, the family staying together is very, very important. And God has been so gracious, to us. So for us, staying together as a family is very, very important. Being able to share, being able to connect, being able to have conversations, being able to see each other's face and to read each other's, feelings and emotions is very key to us, as against, just talking on the phone. I can remember even when I was in Canada, we had dates, all dressed up. He has his own food at one end, I have mine at the other end. We just try to connect as much as possible. And you know what? Even with that, there were seasons of withdrawal. There were seasons of emotional disconnection. So with all the efforts that we tried, to still put into it, we still found ourselves. But the very beautiful thing about us that I always appreciate is the fact that we don't keep quiet. So even when there's that withdrawal, we keep talking about it till we find it. And he knows me, I'm the one, I'll say, Femi, I'm feeling disconnected. There's still something happening here. We haven't gotten to the root of it. We need to know what exactly is going on here. So with all the intentionality and all that, that still happens, but we've been able at times to work together to ensure that we keep the connection and not leave our lives to chance. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So I just want to also add to the stories that she shared, particularly the first one, which was our first experience of having to leave. First thing that happened to us was to be able to stay out. When I got that job to go to Nairobi in Kenya, and at that point in time that she has said, she just got back to work, maybe just a couple of years or 2 years, she just got back to work and she was doing very well. The thing there is that so many factors, so many odds, really, we can say was against us in the sense that we don't know what's going to happen. Because I could have gone to Kenya and after 1 year, the job is no more. It means that I'm back to ground zero. My wife has resigned from her job in Nigeria, went with me. She's back to ground zero. It means the entire family income has gone down to zero. So it means that we if we are saying what to apply wisdom, human logic, it may make sense for her to continue her job in Nigeria. Let me just go to Kenya, because even I have some friends who had similar opportunity. They didn't even move with their family. They didn't move with their family. They went there alone, and then their family remained so that at least they manage the risk. But we looked at it and we said that I think it's convenient for us to make that kind of decision. Yes, it's a convenient way to go. But then when we prioritize commitment of our marriage, our union, our love, our peace, together, if we want to grow together because we're a team, it's better for us to be able to, for us to just to be together. So it was actually a leap of faith. It was a leap of faith. And one of our is spirituality as well. We believe that God has gone ahead of us and also is behind us. That only the best will happen to us. Only the best thing that will happen to us. And we believe that because of that faith that we have, which is part of our value, which is spirituality, we believe that all things will work together for good. So we step on in faith and we went. Even that 2 years ended up becoming almost 5 years at the end of the day. And it was the best moment of our lives. We still talk about that experience till date. Even the children talk about it till date. So I believe that in life, commitment is key. But then also try to have something that will drive you. If you're a type that believe in God, just hand it over to Him and let Him lead you. And let Him just guide you the way. And that has really been the cornerstone of not being able to work. Because the truth is that I've gone alone. She stays here, and I will come back. I will meet my family again. Like somebody said, you won't meet again because your wife could have moved on. Even me, I could have moved on there too, because of all these trials and temptations. You know what I'm saying? Now you get me. So we thank God.
I get you, and that's absolutely amazing. This conversation is sweeting me, but I want to ensure that we touch on things. So you've said key things there. What has helped you through this staying together and not, keeping your family together? It's your faith, your spirituality. You talked about love that you have for each other Ayo also spoke about being able to look at each other and know what the person is feeling. So I'm looking at, heightened sense of emotional intelligence, where you are present, and mindfulness. So let's just quickly move on. Aside from these traits or this habits, are there other things aside from what I've just mentioned that I picked from your story that you can say are practical things? Somebody is listening and is saying, okay, this marriage, we want to reconnect back to the soul of marriage. We want to be able to see how we can, move from independence to interdependence. What are some practical routines or habits that you have in your marriage that helps you resist the trap of self-interest in your marriage?
I'll start again. So the first thing that I'll touch on is connection. And that starts from how we even start our day. So in the mornings, most of the time I'm the one that wakes up first, and I'll just see if he's already moving his body, and if he's awake, would pray. That's the first thing we do. We just pray, giving thanks for the day and all. Then we can have other conversations, that's in the morning. And there are times that some other things can happen for adult ears. So that's one major thing that we do in the morning. Then apart from that, as the day goes on, we try to connect. So days I walk outside of the house, my husband gives me a call in the course of the day. There are times I also check on him to find out how he's doing. And we also ensure we have our couple dates night. Well, couple date, most of the time it's nights. And there was even something that we decided to add to what we do, because we find out sometimes that it's tough, to come up with what do we do on our couple dates and things like that. So we decided to come up with our jar. So with different ideas, different things that can be done on the couple dates. So we have it in a jar and you just pick. So we have several things in there. So we pick ahead of time so that we can prepare, adequately. So these are kind of things that we do to ensure that we connect. We watch movies together as well at home. There are times we do games, couple games. And even apart from that, we also include the children. So we have a family game night as well, where we do all manner of things. We missed yesterday's one, but this afternoon we decided to do something, all these games, quizzes, and it was really, really nice. So these are part of the things that we do as a couple to ensure that we continue to connect and not grow apart. Yes, spa dates as well. I love that so much. We have spa dates. Let me leave it to Mr. Lord to also share a few things.
Well, you've taken it from my mouth. I was thinking you would mention the spa date.
Oh, sorry.
Because that's my favorite. Because if not for the fact that she books the spa date, it's going to be very rare for me to go. So I enjoy my feet massage, because she's going to book it. I have feet massage. Even the last time I did facial scrub or facial cleansing, what do you call it again? They treated my face.
This Nigerian men, because you are looking at this one. If you book this spa, how much is the spa? How much is the spa? I said, nothing concerning you. How much is the spa? Just carry yourself and be going there.
I want to know how much. Is there anything to know the cost?
He doesn't ask me again because he knows that I booked it. Just go.
Even when we had massage together as couple, it's the feeling, the intimacy gets stronger. We have the same experience. Even planning it to go together. It's also one of the things also that also happened was that I at some point I was interested in playing tennis. So she too decided to join the tennis club. so that we are able to go together to tennis club. She too, she tries her hand. After a while, I found that she be just, at least you can watch. We are there together, laugh, you know, do kind of stuff. So those things really help. And you find out that even if even if there are times when you want to be independent, all those activities allow room for interdependence. And it kills withdrawal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also
Sam,
seeking out
what
time.
else is more?
Sorry. I just wanted to
Go
add
ahead,
to
please.
that. Also seeking out time on a daily basis to appreciate each other. Because if you're not careful, you're just used to, oh, she's made the food, I just eat. Oh, he laid the bed after we woke up, it's fine. So the little things, thank you for laying the bed. Thank you for washing the dishes. Thank you for, for making sure that this bill is sorted out. All those little things, go a long way. We had a conversation around that on Saturday last week. And the way he said it made me feel seen, made me feel appreciated. He just said I knew it came from somewhere inside. I knew it wasn't just mere words. And that meant so much to me. So having such conversations on a daily basis helps us to connect and to appreciate each other and to make each other know that I see you. I know you are here. I appreciate what you do. I'm not taking it for granted. Because even our children, we tell them, say thank you, So we too should also leave that out. And it's not just for the children, it's for everybody, which makes the bond to be stronger. I just thought to add that to it.
Can I check
Wow.
as well? Time
That's lovely.
Hold
Okay.
on. I think he wants to say something.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
All right. So I just remembered that one of the things that really helped as well is we don't shy from having our annual marital reviews. There's this marital annual reviews we have with our marriage mentor. It's even a paid service. We never shy away. But I realized that it's also a time of vulnerability. Where my wife would clearly identify rather the gaps that we still have. Where I'm not doing well, where she expects of me, and where I am not doing well, where she expects of me, or I expect of her. And at the end of the day, there's always an action plan, on how to close the gap. For example, they gave an example. I struggle really in being able to call my wife when I'm at work. It's work straight. I face it, but she prefers me to check on her, and I don't. I'm just go straight like that, on my job until I get home. So, but then I realized that during that session, I realized that the best thing for me to do is to set an alarm and put a schedule when I must call my wife. So at a particular point, in fact, my wife knows too, at a particular point in time, my alarm must ring wherever I am in this world. That alarm will buzz. So I will say I have no excuse. So we're able to put system in place. And that also has also really helped. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness, that is so spot on. That is so spot on.
Awesome.
And thank you for African men who allow themselves to sit with some other person and look through their marriage. Because I can tell you, it is rare. They'll say, oh, who is, and then maybe, for example, if the coach is even a younger person to you, how can I be taking advice from somebody that is younger than me? Blah, 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 blah. How many years has he done in marriage? You've done 25 years. And they now say, come and meet teamDinmaNedum. These ones that are our junior in marriage, what have they seen? That's what you typically hear. So hearing that come from an African man is something that is commendable, So, sir, are there rituals that help you and your partner to resist the trap of self-interest in marriage that you want to add?
Okay, in addition to what they've said, which are some of the things we also are practicing. And so I think our own was critical that we I think in the first year of our marriage, we had already harmonized our vision and mission into a statement of purpose. And that became the the template of how we eventually built to see this relationship grow in intimacy as the years go by and deeper in love. And one of the things I would remember is when we're designing where we're living today, we said that in as much as it has a lot of rooms, we are going to have only one master room. So there's nothing like she will have her room for her space, I'll have my room for her space, to the extent that even in our one toilet, we have two toilet seats. So when one person is pooping here and the other one is pooping here, we'll be gisting even in the
Wow,
and when
interesting.
the people were calling like, what kind of hell is this? Why will she have space, do her went thing, I'll have space, do my man's thing? I see even in the way we design the home shows that there's no way you will run again. There's only one master room. We will have our wardrobes as big as it is. So I think that forced this ideology of togetherness forever.
Yeah.
Another thing that also help is that when we are able to notice when we are drifting apart emotionally, where though we are physically seen every day, but you can sense it, either due to work pressure, goals to meet in workplace or anything. We realize we have not gisted. We sleep in the same bed, but we realize we have not like gisted. We've had sex, but we realize we have not gisted. So we can like all of a sudden say, do you know what? Tomorrow or next tomorrow we'll go out. Rather than waiting for a clocked time in the future, we just notice that. We just immediately say, you know what, we are going out on tomorrow or next tomorrow, even though it's for 2 hours, for 1 hour, there's a kind of recovery it does. But the big one is the DinmaNedum day, the Thursday that I won't go to work. Because you know how this thing works, your schedule for speaking, invitations, weekends are no good. So when we notice that our weekends are no longer what we own or have ourselves, I said, okay, since Thursday is like half day for me, Thursday is our play. So we play like like on Thursday, it's so amazing how our Thursday has evolved and our relationship life. And lastly, to put that together is our learning together. We are just so blessed to gifted to learn together. So I can't remember one or just two courses that she has done that I'm not done, or professional bodies association where she is that I'm not there. We might be operating in different degree in the activities of those
Yeah.
society, but definitely I'm there. So it gave us opportunity to learn together, to have conversation on issues. So we are being accused that we can talk for 24 hours a day, and still the next day we are still talking. So the question, what are you people talking? So we can gist and be in the house for 3 days, not going out and not feel bored. So this is where the growth of what you just said has brought us to. And we are saying to younger couples there, if you want to grow deeper intimacy as the year goes by, there are no dull moments. You must always create routines, reminders, rituals around yourself. And so wonderfully, we have Tim Lawrence here who has shown us practical example of what they are doing. It's possible. And so we are so excited that we have some level of commonalities and shared values on building intimacy in relationship.
If you leave this man, he shall talk about this trap of self-interest. But you see, it's first of all noticing what your tendencies are. Because sometimes people will say, oh, you are just lucky, you're just lucky. Nedum, knowing his kind of person as that systematic fault personality, what you call I used to say to him that if somebody wants to understand melancholy, they need to bring you as the sample space because your brain is 99% melancholy. And if you know people like that, you would agree that what he's sharing, for him to be doing it, is strange,
Mm.
right? But it starts from even him becoming interested, that before I even came on board, because they will say, oh, it's you that has changed him. I'm not sure I changed him per se, as much as there was a mutual ground for it to flourish. Because once he decided, oh, I think I need to start getting serious in relationships, and he knew that he had a tendency to be self-absorbed, he had a tendency to focus on himself, he decided to go and buy a puppy so that he can start taking care of the puppy and experience caring for somebody outside of himself. So it's not enough. People will say, oh, that's not how I was created. Oh, it comes easily to you. We need to let you know some of these things did not come easily. They were learned because they were needed to build the kind of marriage that we wanted. So I wanted to just put that out there. And even people, my mother still cannot understand why you would be in the toilet at the same time. And so I don't understand. Is it that the wee wee? Is it that the poop is catching you put together? Which kind? So you people cannot, did they tie your umbilical cord together? That's, oh, but that story for another day. That story for another day. Tim Lawrence, we have kept you beyond time, but we want to appreciate you for staying with us, for sharing this moment with us and everything. I wish I could still ask you one more question, but I'll summarize it like this. In one sentence, what if you could go back in time and advise your newly wedded self? What will you tell your newly wedded self in one or maximum 2 sentences about selflessness, being selfless in a marriage? What would you say to your newly wedded self?
Okay, maybe I should just go first for this last time. You see, for me, what I would tell them is you must intentionally create time for your family, no matter what is changing around you. You know, you must be selfless in creating time. So please create time, spend more time with your family, because that might be the best gift you can offer.
Okay, Ayo, what would it be for you?
I'll summarize it in one of the 7 habits of highly effective people. And what I'll say is seek first to understand and then to be understood. Because I found out that was one thing I didn't do so well initially. Seeking first, to understand my husband, to understand his kind of person. I just wanted him to understand me, So that's one thing I would do, better if I was to go back in time. Seek first to understand him and then to be understood. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
You didn't ask me.
I will come back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team Laura, Ayo, and Femi. We are so excited and we are glad that you turned up. And I'm sure that everyone who listened would have left with things, because the goal is for us to reconnect back to the soul of marriage. So since this is reconnecting back to the soul of marriage, I want us to chant it, because I'm going to crop it and share it. So when in 3 counts, we are going to say, let's reconnect back to the soul of marriage together. Let's reconnect back to the soul of marriage together at the count of 3. Are we ready, Tim Lawrence?
Yes, we are ready.
So 3 times. 3
Okay.
times. Let's reconnect
to the soul of marriage together. Let's reconnect to the soul. How did you say?
At the count of count of 3, we want to stay together.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, go. Let's reconnect
to the soul of marriage together.
Let's reconnect back to the soul of marriage together. Let's reconnect back to the soul of marriage together. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. It was nice having you. And please, before you run off, Mara is back on ground, and I'm sure she has some words for us as we wrap up today. Over to you, Kamara.
Yes. On behalf of the Ks, I want to say thank you to everyone who took out of their time to join the live stream today. And I hope that you've gained very useful and important insights. I know I have learned a lot this time. I want to thank the host couple, my lovely parents, teamDinmaNedum, for being an amazing couple and inspiring me through these years, and also for hosting the LOVE-A-THON. And I want to thank our amazing guest couple, Team Aya and Femi Lawrence, for inspiring us with their relationship today and for the amazing and wonderful discussions that we've had. And I thank you, our audience, again. And I hope that you join us next week and every Saturday in July. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
All right, and on that note is thank you everyone. Please remember LOVE-A-THON continues next week. We will be discussing a very important topic again, breaking the cycle of entitlement. Let's talk about that because it's happening in marriages. How do we break the entitlement culture in marriage? That's our topic next week. We have another guest coming in. So if you enjoyed your time today, please reach out to your friends and family and invite them. And from teamDinmaNedum, it's
Thank
keep
you.
rocking your own kind of happy.
happiness.
Bye.